Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Threads. Nearly 4 billion people use these apps. Half the world, and I'm sure you do too. But here's what you probably don't know. All of them are controlled by one man, a man who has built a trap so massive that 4 billion people are stuck inside it, and they don't even know it. That man is Mark Zuckerberg. This is the dark side of Mark Zuckerberg.
Teenage girls between 13 and 15 were exposed to unwanted nudity in a week on Instagram. You knew about it. Who did you fire?
This is why we're building all.
Who did you fire?
Senator, I don't think that's.
Who did you fire?
I'm not going to answer that.
Mark Elliott Zuckerberg was born on May 14, 1984, in White Plains, New York, to a psychiatrist mother and a dentist father. From the outside, it seemed like the perfect middle-class American family. But those who knew young Mark noticed something different about him. His own roommates at Harvard described him as awkward and calculating. While other teenagers were worried about dating and fitting in, Mark was already obsessed with one thing: collecting and analyzing data about people around him. At Phillips Exeter Academy, Mark created a program called Synapse that could learn users' music preferences and suggest new songs. Sounds innocent, right? But here's the disturbing part. He was already tracking and profiling human behavior, finding ways to predict what people wanted before they even knew it themselves. When Mark arrived at Harvard in 2002, his dorm mates thought they were living with a brilliant computer science student. They had no idea they were sharing space with someone who viewed privacy as an outdated concept and other people as nothing more than data points to be harvested. His psychology professor later revealed that Mark had an unusual fascination with behavioral psychology, specifically how to influence and manipulate human decision-making. He wasn't just learning to code, he was learning to control minds. But the first real glimpse into Mark's dark side came in October 2003 when he created FaceMash, a website that allowed users to rate female students' attractiveness. To build it, he hacked into Harvard's private databases, stealing photos and personal information without consent. When confronted about the privacy violations, Mark's response was chilling. He didn't apologize.
You put up pictures of two women and decide which one was the better, more attractive of the two, is that right?
Congressman, that is an accurate description of the prank website that I made when I was just a college kid kind of being a jerk.
Yeah. This wasn't a mistake. It was a preview of what was coming. Enter Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, two Harvard students who had approached Mark with an idea for a social networking site called Harvard Connection. They trusted Mark to help them build it. Instead, he stole their concept, used their meetings to gather intelligence, and then launched his own competing platform. When the Winklevoss twins confronted him, Mark's response was sociopathic in its coldness. Internal emails later revealed he called them dumb for trusting him. This wasn't business competition, it was calculated theft. But Mark's most brutal betrayal was yet to come, and it targeted his own best friend and co-founder, Eduardo Saverin. Eduardo wasn't just Mark's roommate. He was the person who believed in Facebook from day one, investing $15,000 of his own money and securing the initial funding that kept the company alive. But when Facebook started gaining traction, Mark saw Eduardo as a threat to his absolute control. Here's how Mark destroyed his closest friend. He created new shares that diluted Eduardo's ownership from 30% down to less than 1%, effectively stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from the person who had made Facebook possible. Mark felt no guilt. In depositions, he showed no emotion, no remorse, no acknowledgement that he had betrayed someone who trusted him completely. This was the moment when Facebook stopped being a college project and became what it really was. In 2009, two former Yahoo employees, Brian Acton and John Coombe, created something revolutionary: WhatsApp. Their mission was simple but powerful: private messaging without ads, without data collection, without surveillance. They even put it on their website: no ads, no games, no gimmicks. For years, WhatsApp remained true to this promise. While other messaging apps were harvesting user data, WhatsApp charged a small annual fee and kept conversations truly private. Brian Acton and Jan Koum had built something Mark Zuckerberg's empire couldn't corrupt, or so they thought. By 2014, WhatsApp had 450 million users who trusted the platform because it respected their privacy. That's when Mark Zuckerberg made his move, acquiring WhatsApp for a staggering $19 billion. the largest tech acquisition in history at the time. But here's what Mark told WhatsApp users. Nothing would change. The app would remain independent, privacy-focused, and ad-free. It was a lie. Behind closed doors, Mark immediately began planning how to extract data from WhatsApp users and integrate it with Facebook's surveillance network. Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger were living the Silicon Valley dream. In 2010, they launched Instagram, a simple photo-sharing app that captured the world's imagination. Within 2 years, they had built something magical, a platform where creativity flourished and people shared genuine moments from their lives. Instagram was everything Facebook wasn't: beautiful, authentic, and focused on visual storytelling rather than personal data extraction. It was also growing faster than Facebook ever had, especially among younger users who were already starting to abandon Zuckerberg's platform. Mark saw Instagram as an existential threat. If young people stopped using Facebook, his empire would crumble. So in 2012, he made Kevin and Mike an offer they couldn't refuse: $1 billion for their 2-year-old company. But Mark's acquisition of Instagram wasn't about preserving what made it special. It was about destroying it. Within months of the acquisition, Mark began implementing what Facebook internally called aggressive growth strategies. These weren't just features. They were psychological weapons designed to make Instagram as addictive as possible. Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger watched in horror as their creative platform was transformed into a psychological manipulation tool. In 2018, they resigned from Instagram, unable to reconcile their vision with Mark's surveillance capitalism. Today, Instagram has over 2 billion users, most of whom have no idea that every double tap, every scroll, every pause is being analyzed and used to influence their thoughts and behaviors. The platform that once celebrated human creativity has become a machine for harvesting human attention and selling it to the highest bidder. July 2023. Elon Musk's chaotic management of Twitter had created an opportunity, and Mark Zuckerberg was ready to strike. Enter Threads, Facebook's direct assault on Twitter's dominance in real-time conversation. The launch was unprecedented. Threads gained 100 million users in just 5 days, making it the fastest-growing app in history. But here's what those users didn't realize. By signing up for Threads, they were giving Mark Zuckerberg even more control over their digital lives. Threads was automatically linked to Instagram accounts, meaning users couldn't delete Threads without deleting Instagram entirely. It was digital hostage-taking. Mark was using Instagram's popularity to force people into his new platform. The privacy implications were staggering. Threads could access everything: health and fitness data, financial information, browsing history, location data, and even sensitive info. A category so broad it could include anything Mark wanted to collect. But the most disturbing aspect of Threads was how it revealed Mark's ultimate goal: total control over online discourse. With Facebook controlling personal social networking, Instagram dominating visual content, WhatsApp owning private messaging, and now Threads targeting public conversation, Mark was systematically eliminating digital spaces where he couldn't monitor and influence what people said and thought. So where does this end? Mark Zuckerberg now controls the digital communications of nearly half the world's population. His platforms decide what billions of people see, think about, and talk about every single day. He has more influence over human behavior than any individual in history, and he's completely unaccountable to anyone. The man who started by rating his female classmates now rates the thoughts and feelings of humanity itself. The boy who hacked his university's databases now harvests the private data of 3 billion people. The student who betrayed his closest friends now holds the trust of half the world and systematically betrays it every single day. We're living through the greatest concentration of communicative power in human history, and we've handed it all to someone who has repeatedly shown he values control over connection, profit over privacy, and power over people. But here's the most terrifying part. This is just the beginning. Mark's vision for the metaverse isn't about creating virtual worlds. It's about replacing the real world with one he controls completely. A world where every human interaction is monitored, every emotion is analyzed, and every thought can be influenced. The question isn't whether Mark Zuckerberg intended to become humanity's digital dictator. The question is whether we're going to let him finish the job. Because in the end, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Threads, and Meta aren't free platforms. They never were. You're not the customer, you're the product. And the price isn't just your privacy or your data. The price is your freedom to think for yourself. So the next time you open Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, ask yourself, am I connecting with friends, or am I feeding the machine that's learning to control my mind? Because in Mark Zuckerberg's world, there might not be a difference.